Good to go. Thank you very much. Welcome and good evening to the council on Tuesday, November the 14th, 2023. Call the meeting to order at 4 p.m. As always, remind you to put your mobile device on the silent mode or vibrate. And right into the meeting, we have any additions or deletions to the agenda this evening?
There is one addition, Your Worship, under 13 bylaws. A will be the bylaw to support the cross-country steep club agreement.
Okay.
That goes with the administration report under 10A.
Bylaw number 13, okay. Anything else? Okay. Hearing none, I do have a motion here that council hereby accepts the agenda for Tuesday, November the 14th, 23, the regular meeting of council as circulated and amended. Moved by Council Lake, second by Council Week. All in favor? Thank you. Any disclosure of interest this evening? Hearing none, I have a motion here that council hereby accepts and adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on Monday, October 23rd, 2023, as circulated and amended. Moved by Councilor Sugi, second by Councilor Lake. Any questions or omissions of those minutes? Hearing none, I call a question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Range. Okay, right on into the student councilors' verbal reports. Councilor Kashane.
So last week, two of our teams went to play in the NSSS finals in Manitowoc. Our junior boys ended up coming in second, losing to Trillium. And our senior boys took home the NSSS banner, and we are set to host NWASA this Thursday with games at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. against Red Lake.
Oh, nice stuff. Thank you for that.
Winner goes to OPSA.
Oh, right on.
Yes.
Good.
Winner to the Ontario Championships.
All the best of luck for the team. Councilor Red.
On Friday, November 10th, our leadership class, along with some help from some other grade 12s and grade 10s, hosted a Remembrance Day ceremony for our school, which was very successful. And it seems that the leadership class is going to be hosting more events for our school. So they'll get the community active as well as the entire school active again after the pandemic.
Right on, that's good news. And, our Remembrance Day issue was held on a Saturday, obviously the day that the Remembrance fell. Wasn't as much youth participation at the event as it normally would be when it was during the school week, where the teachers would typically bring some students down. So it's good to see at the school, and I know they did it at the other elementary schools as well. So that's good to see. It just keeps reminding our youth and community, no different than you and your peers, that there are some major consequences to war. Now we none of us in this room have been affected directly by war, but it has affected us and our freedom that we take for granted. So good to see that. Thanks. Up next, we have a verbal report on the progress of the Active Living Center. Mr. Skorczynski.
So just a brief update for council tonight as we continue on with this project. So right now we're looking at a current building design of approximately 86,000 square feet. And that's based on our last conversations of looking at pricing out what it would look like, including a bowling alley as well as the potential of some curling sheets. So this is the square footage tool we're using to calculate the building and site costs at the current time. So that's a work in progress. The geotechnical work on site has been completed. So you would have seen drills down there. You would have seen some trenching taking place. So that work's all been done by TBT Engineering. They're in the process of analyzing that data, and then we'll transcribe it into some final reports for December for us. With respect to the site analysis, we're looking at structural engineering right now with respect to the building design, and that's in the advanced stages. So taking what the building design was encompassing and now looking at structurally what it would look like and the types of loads that would be required, which are obviously important. We look at things like foundations, cut and fill and paste if we need to, any type of pile driving. So that's in advanced stages, and Mr. Paris and I have a call on Thursday with respect to that item with our project team. Mr. Fry and his group in BC continue with the landscape design and park planning. That master plan is on schedule to be completed along with the building design in December. And then finally, administration, we're right on schedule. We do expect to schedule a special meeting with council, likely middle of December, to present what is, I won't call it a final report, but certainly what we're looking at from a design perspective, some advanced costing, and then starting to talk about what the 24 budget and the process going forward looks like. So right on schedule with respect to what we had planned as part of the 23 budget and our project schedule, and look forward to making that public presentation in mid-December.
Great, thanks for that. Any questions? Councilor Lane?
Are we seeing any, I mean, the price of everything went crazy over the last couple of years. Are we seeing a return to kind of pre-pandemic pricing at all? Or are we seeing that same trajectory going up in terms of where we'll be when we actually get to go shovel ready?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We're not seeing pre-pandemic levels, but we are seeing things starting to settle out around what I would say we can expect to see going forward for any construction project. So, we were probably talking about a high of $150 a square foot earlier in 2023. And the numbers we're seeing coming in now are in that $630 to $640 range. So I expect that's where it's going to settle out when we make the presentation in December and as we look to tender in future years. But I think the days of, the consumer price index being 2.1% for Northwestern Ontario are long gone. We're likely to see that probably 5 to 6% on an annualized basis.
Councilor Wheeler? No question?
No.
Councilor Sugi? Okay. So as you all know, we met with Minister Surma through Ministry Infrastructure at London and AMO conference. We haven't heard anything back in that regards, but we certainly like to hear something in regards to Government of Ontario announcing some sort of infrastructure funding for recreation facilities over the next while. She said that they were going to be discussing with the federal government on the package that will make this project maybe qualify for something along those lines. So hopefully we'll hear something soon and we do a follow-up with their ministry and see what's going on.
Yeah, I do expect we probably will see something. So the province just announced last week a new water enabling fund for new housing developments. So our Penn Lake subdivision would be eligible. I don't know all the parameters yet, but we'll look at that. So that's been a new funding announcement around critical infrastructure. So I do expect we'll see some in the next coming weeks. And if not, we'll certainly follow up with their office.
Yeah, because it sounded positive, and that was probably the best news we heard over the last couple of meetings with that ministry. So hopefully we'll be, and again, but it'll be a process of lottery type system. It's not a guarantee, but at least our argument's been very, very well laid out on her table to understand the importance of this facility for our community.
Just with the current state of our facility now, is there like a contingency plan in place should the TBT engineering results come back and that's not fit to build? But to continue to move ahead with the project because we need a recreational facility? What is there?
Yeah, it's not going to be a question of, is it fit to build? There's no question we can build on that site. We're quite comfortable with that. It's more of a question of, what council is prepared to spend at the end of the day. So, to retrofit or, look to modernize our current facility, we just can't do it as per the code. Whether it's building code or the electrical safety code. So it's not going to be a question of, can we build it? Yes, we can. We know we can do that based on the geotechnical work we've done. It's just a matter of, council's comfortability around the total spend on the build. And that's really going to be the crux of the discussion in December.
Yeah, and I do think that is the crux of the discussion is the money piece. So I'm just, I think if I was a resident in town and we're now going to face our first winter without a pool, and we know the arena is also on its last legs. So designing is the one piece of it. What's the kind of behind the scene work that's being done on the money side? Do we feel like we're also going to be in a place kind of coming up where we also know where the money might come from or what the amounts are, or is that piece of work also moving forward?
Yeah, it's not an easy one to try and nail down because, it is a big number, and there's no funding programs that are currently open per se. We have the mayor and I have a couple of meetings scheduled with some professional firms that work in the space in the next couple of weeks that will look at the services that they offer. Some other things that we're looking at, obviously we requested a meeting with the Ministry of Finance at the Roma conference to once again try and make the case for a pilot project utilizing mining taxation to help fund community infrastructure. We'll see if we got a little bit of traction with the Minister of Mines at the AMO conference. We'll try that route again. And I think, once we have a number from council in terms of, the final design number, then we can really dig in and, we'll know what our portion is gonna be. I'll just use a round number of $10 million of a $50 million project. Then we can really design that strategy for the first quarter of 2024 to get to work on it.
We need that number.
We need that
first,
number
and
from
then
council.
strategy, okay.
There's a lot of moving parts and a very short time window to make it all happen. And yeah, we're absolutely clear that our facilities in dire needs of repair or replacement. What does that look like? Even if we get everything and the money lands in our lap, we go to tender, we're still probably talking 3 years out for a build.
3 to 4 years for sure.
So that's the best case scenario. If all comes together in the spring, summer of 2024. We'd be looking at 27, 28 before we can turn the key into a new facility. So we got to hope all those tracks come to the same line and it goes onto the straight line right down to the marina and waterfront and build a new facility.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing so much building in town right now. It feels like the town is growing and I just, you get hopeful.
Absolutely. But, sorry, Mr. Kuczynski, but the reality is about the debt level the municipality can handle.
Yeah.
And that will all be discussed in our December discussion and see where we need to go and what our availability of funds are.
Yep.
How's that?
Yeah, and that's really the key, right? Is administration's highly confident in our ability with our project team to, once the money is in, the bank theoretically that, to move this project in a very expeditious manner. And compressing a build to somewhere, assuming materials are available. That's the key. And really the big build of the building, and you wouldn't think so, but it's not the arena, it's the pool. The pool takes the largest, the pool is probably a 2-year build. So that takes the most time, but yeah, we're highly confident in our ability once we get the money in place to move it forward very quickly.
And with that being said, maybe within that report too, from the architectural design aspect, you might be able to, if worst case scenario, utilize the arena part of that new build earlier than the second and third part
That is a possibility.
of the facility. So if there's something happens to the existing facility, you have that at least one aspect of the facility can be utilized. Okay. We just don't want to get in a scenario where we build 1, 2, and 3 like we did
Yeah.
in the 70s. And then you have 3 structures with 3 different systems operating it, and then you have problems. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, up next we have the report on a cross-country ski and snowshoe club. Snowshoe, we don't want them on there. Sorry.
No, we're not allowed on.
Snowshoe club. Thanks. Good evening, Ms. Suki.
Right, the annual agreement between the town of Marathon and the Marathon Cross Country Ski and Snowshoe Club for the use of the chalet expired April 15th, 2023. Administration has been working with the Marathon Cross Country Ski and Snowshoe Club to discuss the 1-year lease agreement. The key items in the new agreement include the term of Saturday, November 18th, 2023 to Saturday, April 13th, 2024. The club will operate out of the pro shop room only and have limited access to the kitchen space. A pre and post inspection will be scheduled to have mutual understanding of expectations from both the Marathon Cross Country Ski and Snowshoe Club and the town. The new lease agreement will generate $2,200 in net revenue for the municipality. Option A, enter into the new lease agreement with the Marathon Cross Country Ski and Snowshoe Club, or B, do not enter into the new lease agreement with the Marathon Cross Country Ski and Snowshoe Club. Your administration recommends that option A be selected and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to enter into a new lease agreement with the Marathon Cross Country Ski and Snowshoe Club for the period of November 18th, 2023 to April 13th, 2024.
Thank you for that report. I got a motion here, put on the floor. Council hereby accepts the attached report and recommendation on the Marathon Cross Country Ski and Snowshoe Club lease agreement. For that, the approved bylaw be adopted later in this meeting to authorize the town and Marathon to enter a lease agreement with them. Move by. Council Lake, and Council Suki, questions? No? Council Lake, no?
I'm just wondering, in your conversations, is the club kind of fully up to date? Like, does it have a full board and is it going okay? I just know lots of boards are struggling right
Yeah,
now. So is there any support we can offer?
In conversation with Paul, who was last year's president, he's remaining as president this year. He hasn't given me the updated list, but it sounds like the meeting went well.
Great.
Good, and we're always there to support them, and it's a great facility, and I think what we need to do as well is maybe work with them to promote a little bit more in regards to how great that facility is. Because with the pool being on the commission, we have other programs that you're operating for sure, but that's a second, an opportunity for us to really promote, because that is a great facility. I just gotta get more people aware of that and get their kids out and get into the, Jackrabbit bunny hop program so those kids can get started using the facility as adults. Because we've noticed that, throughout everywhere, right? If you don't have youth getting into any of the activities, you don't typically pick a sport up at 25 or 30. You need to start at a youth age. Working with them is great. Anything else? No, great. So the youth, you guys ski? You guys cross-country ski club? No?
Well, like our school or like,
No, through yourselves individually. Have you ever been out there?
no, not
No?
myself.
Sorry.
I don't know ski like that or
Yeah,
better.
well, the cross-country is really nice too. You should check it out. It's a pretty good facility. Bring a little snack over there, stop at the waterfalls and enjoy it. So, anyway, but all that be. Carrie, favor? Thank you. I'm really promoting the cross-country ski club this year. Get out there and enjoy it.
Without the pool, you've got to do something. It's a
Absolutely.
long winter.
Okay, up next, we have the actual bylaw. Bylaw authorizing the town of Marathon, Corporation of Town of Marathon into an agreement with the Marathon Cross Country Ski Club, Snowshoe Club from November 18, 2023 to April 13, 2024 to be read first, second, and third time and finally passed this 14th day, November 2023. Moved by Councilor Sui, second by Councilor Wheeler. Any questions of that bylaw? Hearing none, I'll call question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Up next, we have a few requests. This first one is from the town of Rainy River seeking support in regards to the water treatment training opportunities to be expanded and made more affordable. And further, that a copy of this motion be forwarded on to individuals listed on the original resolution. I need to move a second to put on the floor. Councilor Lake, second by Councilor Wheeler. Questions on this resolution? Pretty straightforward. Councilor Wheeler, you have any? Oh,
No, it seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Anybody else? It's basically, and we're all in the same books as we see individuals in our community retire with those water tickets. You're gonna have to have more people on the bottom end that coming in, new employees being trained. So by all means, it makes sense to have this.
You usually have to go for that training.
Typically gets done Bay, so it's costly and you got rooms and, and travel. So if we can have it more affordable, more centralized, so that makes a huge difference to the communities. All in favor? Carrie, thank you. Up next, we have a motion resolution support the town of McKellar pertaining to the call for the amendment of the Legislations Act in regards to the advertising. And this motion here is for that. So I need to move a second on the floor. Councilor Wheeler, second by Councilor Lake. Any comments and questions on that?
So maybe just
Councilor Lake?
to clarify, this is about publishing within online versus print.
Yep.
And
So-
what counts as a publication.
So as you see, we're lucky we still have a weekly paper.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have that weekly paper, you would have to go online. We have no other form other than the Daily Chronicle, which would be very expensive.
Yeah.
So they don't even think they have in that community that access either. So without that access, you have to be able to have legislation allow you to go online and do that, right? So what they're saying in their resolution is that basically without the availability of a weekly, daily form of paper to get to the public, you have to be able to go online.
Yeah, and just so I could add on,
Yeah.
so, if your daily was an example was the Chronicle, you're probably looking at $2,000.
Oh, yeah, very expensive.
Brad.
And if there's a print, you have to.
Right now, you have to put it in print.
So if
So-
it's said online, then you could,
You can do it digitally,
and
so
it wouldn't cost anything.
what it wouldn't cost anything.
So for small municipality, that's going to.
Oh, it's big, it's a big,
Oh, yeah.
big savings and a big advantage.
I mean, again, we'll go back to we're lucky the dailies even combine Saturday and Sunday because of less readership, but the
Yeah.
weekly in our community is great. And then, but if it, for whatever reason, it doesn't operate in a year or two, then we're all in the same boat. So it's another tool, no different than COVID allowed us to do online meetings and, it's just the tool and toolbox that gives everybody the
More
opportunity.
efficient.
All good? Okay, thank you. Up next, I have another resolution attached to the resolution received from the NOMA in regards to the association pertaining to sustainable funding for NOSSM. So the university to address the urgent need for the health and human resources of Northern Ontario. Further, copy this motion be forwarded on to the individual listed on the original resolution. Moved by Councilor Wheeler, second by Councilor Lake. Any questions? This is a motion in regards to the support of the $4 million funding for the university, which is a newly independent university to operate and train our docs. We brought this as a normal argument to the ministry at the AMO conference in London, and we got some traction, but it still has to be fully supported by municipalities to make sure the government's fully aware of the need. Anything else?
Is there a particular
Other
reason
student?
why it's the only like standalone medical university in Canada?
The board and the dean requested that to have it as standalone because they felt that it would be more opportunity. From my understanding from our meeting, we met with her 3 weeks ago in Thunder Bay, is the understanding is that more opportunity to train more individuals with less governance in regards to government oversight.
I thought, is it not related to the insolvency of one of the universities?
Well, that was part of
That
it.
was part
That
of
was
it.
part of it, but they're still operating quite good with
Okay.
through Laurentian,
Okay.
and they still lease off Laurentian, but at Thunder Bay, they moved away from the university. So, and there's still there at the university, but it's a cost now. It's a different beast. So yeah, there was multiple things in there, but of course, NOMA has always been working. We've met with the dean and talked about all those needs of the university. And the one need obviously is like anything, when you bring into an independent facility, you got more funding and more cost associated with staffing. I think they're on the verge of even a negotiated contract and strike there last week as well, so I think they might have settled out. Anything else?
I'll support that.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Carrie, thank you. We did, speaking of that, we did ask for them to work with Northern Policy Institute to look at Sonoma. Our next meeting is next week at Thunder Bay, and we're going to be discussing an individual, an intern of some sort, looking at where the actual docks dispersed over the last many, say, decade or so. So they say that the high numbers in Northern Ontario, but that doesn't necessarily mean rural Northern Ontario. We want to get a real true understanding of where the docks have migrated to. One of the big things is about where docks get the residency training. There's very few, if any. Marathon is one, Kenora is one in Northwestern Ontario. The rest are in the south. So if you get your residency training in Southern Ontario, you're typically not going to come back to Northern Ontario to serve. So that's a real problem. And it's not because they don't want to do it. The docks, there's not enough docks in the facilities in Northwestern Ontario to help do the residency programs. So without that, you don't have docks. Vaccine, they move on, right? So.
Well, and is that a place, your worship, where we can, I just feel like we have a really robust healthcare system, and we've got some kind of a campus growing over by the hospital. We've got a college on board. Is there a way to kind of center Marathon as, or work with our health professionals to center Marathon as a place of residency? Because I don't think any of our docs right now went through NAWSM.
Yeah, no, so Dr. Newberry works very closely with
Yeah.
the awesome team and with Dr. Verma. So the fully aware, the support from Marathon is
Yeah.
overwhelming. It's just, it's
Yeah.
about the availability of having residencies, from my understanding, is coming in, working with docs within the facilities. And now, of course, with agency nursing, that becomes more pressure.
Yeah.
It's a bigger issue that we can support. But if you're a residency doc coming in, you don't have the continuity of a team, you might not necessarily want to go to that facility to work.
Yeah.
And that's becoming a problem more and more throughout the province, because as you get people who don't have investment in the facility, and if you're just a traveler coming through and working 4 days a week in the community, you don't have investment in the community, you don't become a team, and that's becoming a bigger problem. So we're trying to work through that problem and then working with more docs in the residencies, but family positions are becoming a rare beast.
But yeah, just to build off of Councillor Lake's point, I guess is, one of my other roles is chair of the board of Confederation College. The college is launching the BSCN program regionally next year, as well as the board recently approved the pharmacy technologist program. That's going to be also offered in the region. So a lot more availability for training in the region to, advance our healthcare sector, which will serve as part of that primary care piece as well. So
That's awesome. I still, and you mentioned this yourself, that nursing program that we ran however many years ago, that was the majority of the nurses at our hospital for years and years. They all were from Marathon or Beatagon, and they trained in Marathon, they lived in Marathon. Lots of those folks are retiring now, and it feels like, we're replacing them with agency nurses who have no community involvement.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a big beast and it's about funding and, you know, the step is getting the dogs trained is number one, keeping them in Northern Ontario and specifically rural Northern Ontario is key. So hopefully we're successful in that. Up next, I have a motion here that supports the attached resolution received from the township of Archipelago, I'm saying that wrong, but Archipelago, thank you.
Archipelago.
That pertain to the cigarette producer responsibility and further copy the motion be afforded to individuals listed on the original resolution. So moved by Councilor Lake, second by Councilor Suki. Questions, comments?
So I just want to clarify, this is
Right.
cigarette manufacturers would be responsible for every cigarette that's thrown on the ground.
That's a tough one. I think.
I love that idea, I guess, but wow,
It's ambitious.
it's ambitious.
So the problem is, I mean, obviously NOMA through AMO is working on the blue box system. It's going to be fully rolled out and implemented by time 24, 25 are fully rolled out. All the consumer products are being back to the manufacturer's responsibility. This could go in the list, but this is not going to be enforceable because it's just, I mean, your pack is so small, that's a piece of cardboard. And then the butt is even more impacted, you know, we know from the impacts of our drain systems and the sewer systems and the lakes but how do you enforce that? So we can support it, but I don't think it'll have a lot of traction in the overall.
Well, I think, you know, I like the way they worded the resolution, right, where there's, you know, they don't reference enforcement, they reference producer responsibility initiatives.
Right.
So maybe that's, as an example, you know, a municipality is $10,000 towards putting in stations around.
Yeah,
town.
more ashtrays, yeah. And that we can push on that for sure. So the big companies making all the money can put in a couple of the
Correct.
disposable product ashtrays around. All good, all in favor with that?
Yeah.
Good, thank you. Next, we have a resolution from Catherine Fife in regards to the Waterloo MPP pertaining to support of Bill 21 Fixing Long-Term Care Amendment Act until death do us part 2022. Copy this motion before on to the original resolutions listed on the original resolution. Moved by Councilor Wheeler, second by Councilor Lake. Questions, comments on this one? Pretty self-explanatory in regard to the issues at hand and consider bringing this to each motion to each council. And therefore be resolved that the legislative process, you know, it makes the act pass the second reading of legislation. They're trying to get it passed through. She's trying to do as well. That Long-Term Care Act to be amended, so. All good?
Maybe just to clarify, so I mean, I always think I can hear Adam's voice in our head saying, like, if it's healthcare, what's the healthcare community saying about this particular act? Are we supportive or not supportive?
Yeah, well, I think we should be supportive, obviously, as we develop long-term care.
14 beds.
Moving forward, and really what, you know, what the way the legislation, I guess, probably the better terminology isn't worded right now is that you theoretically go to the closest long-term care facility. So in this case, it split the spouses apart. And you didn't have that opportunity to stay in your hometown. So what this is proposing is if you have those facilities, right, the government cannot make that decision on behalf of the family to split the spouses.
Okay,
So I think administratively, we would support it.
okay. Because right now, where's the nearest facility?
Terrace Bay.
Terrace
It's
Bay.
Terrace Bay. But if one spouse went and then it was full, the next one would be probably under Bay. Correct.
Yeah.
So you'd end up with two people. Okay, that makes way more sense.
So this is just legislation ensuring that does not happen without consent.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense. So thank you for that clarification.
Anything else? No. Okay, good. All in favor?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anything else before we adjourn this meeting very quickly tonight, 4:30? The word to me with our neighboring community tonight, but we will reschedule that so soon and we have a great agenda. So we'll tag up with BN hopefully before Christmas.
Yeah, I spoke with Mrs. Bushi and unfortunately they had a power outage this afternoon, but we are going to schedule for their Christmas break.
Good.
Could we invite the student counselors?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's a good one to attend.
Yeah.
It's neat to be here.
Good. Okay, good. Thanks for that. We'll adjourn at the hour of 4:30 PM. Thank you. And have a
My
good.
clear worship, we are going into an in-camera.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I missed that one.
When they come here, we just keep.
Then we will be going into new camera disclose acquisition disposition of lands within municipality, so that'll be a following this open public meeting. Sorry about that, thank you. I have it right in front of me too, and I'm skip by. So excited to get out of here at 4:30. Moved by Councilor Lake, second by Councilor Suki. Thank you very much and have a good night.
Evening. Makes sense.